is indeed a very beautiful Thursday here in Lagos State, Nigeria, and I'm delighted to bring you newspaper review on High Impact Television. I am Sarah Ozwanta. Today is the 31st day in the month of March 2022, the last day in the month. And how has your month been so far? Now, as we brace up to welcome a new month, we still have stories that have been trending on the papers for a while now. And one that is significant to us as a country has to do with insecurity challenges. Just on Monday evening, we got to report how bandits numbering over 200 attacked rail racks at the Kaduna-Abuja route. And at the time of filing this report, 8 persons have been confirmed dead, 25 have been hospitalized, and several numbers unaccounted for. Right now, we have our guest, a security expert, joining us live in the studio in person of Femi Aratokun-Ale. Good morning, Femi Aratokun. Thank you for joining us on the review.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you here. So, let's go straight to the point. As a security expert, I'm sure you are aware of the incessant insecurity challenges we're facing as a country, and the most recent one has to do with the Abuja-Kaduna train attack, which occurred on Monday night. And this is not the first time an attack is taking place on that particular train rack. We recall that in October 2021, a similar incident occurred, and nothing at the time was really done about it. So getting these reports now, how do you react to it, first off?
Okay, let me start from this angle with you. It's highly regrettable that we're losing lives, but we really don't care about the lives we're actually losing in Nigeria of today. We talk so much about insecurity, but we're not taking it as a priority in Nigeria as of today. We talked about, the government will do a whole lot based on what happened in the past, but we can't see that happening. Now, who are the people being beaten so well now? The citizens, the armless people, the people you sworn oath you're going to protect have not been protected. So the government should look straight to themselves and ask, have we been able to do the best? Have we served the country better? Or we are still just talking politics rather than talking how do we make life much more better and bearable for Nigerians as a country. I think at the moment, the scorecard is completely below 0 or -0 for me in terms of how security has been displaced or how the security has been placed in Nigeria of today.
Right. We recall that this thing started very little. It started with, minor kidnappings and all of that. Before we know, we saw an escalation. It has gone from kidnapping school children, to attacking people on the roads, to bombing religious centers, just to mention a few. Now, what can you say is the root cause of these challenges? Let's delve into that. What can we peg as the root problem?
Okay, Sarah, I schooled in Nigeria before traveling out. Okay. When I traveled out, a lot of things would definitely change. And part of what changed in my life is that I had to change my course of what do I want to do for living and everything. And I jumped into security. From there, I started into, let me do research about how can I make my country better? How can I give back to my country, which I've been doing as far back as 2010. Wow. Now, let's leave all this to one side. We just talk about it, but we don't act about it. Instead of acting, we put everything into blueprint paperwork, but it's not actually seen physically. So the problem started long ago, but we refuse to act on it. Rather, we call God, that God will do it. Now, Nigerians, I'm about to tell you, God will not do it if we do not do it ourselves.
But we can note that there have been attacks where the federal government actually, reacted, and there were times when some of these persons, these bandits or terrorists, were caught. So we can say that to an extent, the federal government.
How many have been caught? How many have been prosecuted? Is the question now. Now what we have is repentant terrorists, trying to reintegrate them back into the society. But we're not looking at the long term, we're only focusing on the short term. And even the short term we're actually focusing on have not really, being analyzed. That okay, what do we do? What kind of support do we want to give them? What about the trauma of the family, those being impacted? Have we actually looked into all this? What you see, we have a whole lot that the government needs to do. Now, let us bring it back home to Kaduna. From Abuja to Kaduna by road is no more than 1 hour, 50 minutes, or max 2 hours, depending on what happens. Then Abuja train to Kaduna, I think is about between the same time as well. Now, what does it cost to say, okay, fine, now that we have this insecurity while we're building this super infrastructure in the north from Abuja, connecting and making life and journey much more easy, can we at least have some area view drones, which costs nothing? All you need is have an area view, have a control room that can actually overview the movement and the journey or anything happening within this area. Or perhaps anything that would definitely overview and secure these areas when trains are not moving. Because when trains are not moving, that is when actors, criminals can actually act. We didn't see all this. So my question is this to project managers that actually built this place. What were you thinking when you were building this infrastructure in the first place?
Right. It is important to note that the Minister of Transportation, in person of Rotimi Amechi, when he visited the state to, assess the situation, blamed the failure of the federal government to provide the necessary security system to showcase some of this movements, like you've said. So he was, because I watched the interview, and he stated how he had made the demand to the federal government to make provision for this, and nothing was done about it, saying that they did not find it as a priority.
Look, we should stop pushing blames, and we should stop pushing things around. The project for area view security is not all that expensive. But when you see some capital budgets, being moved, and you now start asking, is it that bad? Is it that serious? There are some kind of deterrents you can actually put in place that is not so cost effective. But when you see some huge budget that, this is going to cost so much, then the impact is going to be back again to the passengers because they're going to hike up the fare. Now, anybody traveling now, I'm hearing right now they want to start using the Air Force super jets to escort train.
Is that a probable?
That is not even. That is not a very good solution to me. Rather, are you trying to declare that okay, if you can deploy this to Kaduna, what happens between Ore, Benin? What happens between Ibadan, Lagos? What happens between Lagos, Abuja, Osun? So we're not going to start having drones around or start having jets around, all because of what? It's all down to, let us look into how do we secure this place. Let us go back and redraw back our security architecture. So our security architecture in Nigeria is faulty. Let us draw it back again. Okay, let us go back to the drawing table and look into what do we do? Who is at fault? Who do we need to deploy? Do we have the competency of doing this or that? What policies do we set in place? How do we re-empower back our security private officers? Retired but not tired officers, can we deploy them back? Can we get them back? These are measures that they need to start looking into. What sort of weapons do we need? What sort of safety measures do we need to give to all our officers so that they can do their work diligently? Do we even have a welfare package for them? It's another thing. So all these are measures we need to start looking into rather than looking at big capital projects that will not work.
Right. So one thing that we got on the papers this morning, still quoting the Minister of Transportation, I'd like to read his statement so we can, he further said that the location of terrorists was public knowledge, and even the Department of State Services usually monitors their telephone line. He said this just after claiming that the military had knowledge of the hideouts of these bandits. So with all of these claims coming up that the military has knowledge and the Department of State Services monitor their telephone lines, why is it still very difficult for us as a country to attack this terrorist at once if this information is actually accurate?
As I've said, I'm not here to probably, push blame or, pass blame to anyone. But all I can say is this: if you're given a role or if you're given a task to do, and you're not competent enough to carry out this task, I think it is better you leave rather than being fired. That, okay, I can't do this job, let somebody else come in. I think we can see loads of incompetency now, and we can see how the government and agencies are pushing and passing blames around. This is not what Nigerians want to hear. What Nigerians want to hear right now is, yes, we're getting rid, or we're employing, or these are the measures we're putting in place to make life bearable for people. Right now, a lot of people can't do business, and it's actually going to have impact to the international world because investors will think twice before coming around to do business here. I
was coming to that, but you mentioned it already, talking about the impact of this insecurity on businesses in Nigeria. Let's talk about that. To a very large extent, this insecurity challenge affects every sector, including businesses. Like you said, foreign investors might not want to come in to invest. So what is the way out of this? To what extent?
You see, the way forward and to this extent right now is, if we don't show something practical, that yes, we're actually tackling this hands-on, then we might have it very difficult to see how investors will come in. And if investors don't come in to come and invest in our countries, then we are again going to start looking into another serious impact of criminal activities happening. If you cannot feed your family, if I cannot feed my family, then how do I want to be stable in life? So that means I have to look for fast ways to make money. The only way out is this: government should look into how do they want to come together with other security agencies, which are private security agencies in Nigeria, the competent ones, not the quack ones, because we have loads of quacky around too. So we have to look into, what do we do? How do we go about it? Let us ditch politics away and let us face the fact. We are in dear trouble. We are in real trouble. How do we solve these issues? So
are you saying that we should, not focus on only the military we have right now? We should channel energy into private...
The military are doing their best. The police officers are doing their best. The civil defense officers are doing their best. Air Force are doing their best. But the question is this: why can't we, as a people, now think about it that, okay, I'm given this task, let me think outside the box and think about, what can I do? How do I do it? Let me call this agent, let me call that agent. In fact, let me even go abroad. There are so many Nigerians out there who are security consultants. Let's call them. Let us give us insights into how do we deal with all these issues. We can do it. It's easy, it's simple, but the question is, how ready is the government to take this on board and do it? Remember, all these bandits and terrorists, they have a target. All what we're seeing right now is just a test.
Let me butt in here. As a security expert, you just said they have their target. So for people that are watching that do not even know what their target is, as an expert, in your opinion, what is the target of these terrorists?
You see, their target is they really want to make an impact to destabilize the country. And right now, they're getting the attention. Now, who are the players? Who are those thinking they know who the players are? How do we get them on board? How do we, is it that you want to arrest or you want to talk to them? Or what do you do to stop this? If you remember, way back in the, during the early democracy in Nigeria, second democracy in Nigeria, we have the Niger Delta. We have the kidnap going up and down and everything. At the end of the day, there was a way that it was dealt with. And right now, we can see that, okay, everything seems to be calm around there. Why can't we do the same here as well? With the North, things are going on. It's creeping down little by little from Borno State to Plateau to Jos, now Kaduna. And don't forget, Kaduna, from my own analysis now, I think they have about 12 security infrastructure there, 12 different security infrastructure.
Well, I had to get an analysis, and I found out that Kaduna has over 6 military formations.
Yes.
And it is assumed to be the military fortress of Nigeria.
Of the country, yes. It is actually, that is the stronghold of, Nigeria when it comes to military security and everything. So the question is, how come all these things are happening in Kaduna? How come this is happening very close to all these military areas? How come we don't look? In 5 years' time, all these students we have in all these security institutions will be out of the school. And they will become the people to support, protect Nigeria. The question is, what are they teaching them if they cannot solve this problem right now?
Right. So I want to ask, at this point, is dialogue a solution to the challenge? This is because people have come out to say maybe the federal government needs to have a sort of dialogue with these terrorists, because according to a report I heard this morning, some people were kidnapped in Niger State, and the bandits, the kidnappers, have reached out to their families asking for ransom. So if these people are reaching families or parents or persons, you know, related to their the people that they abducted, can dialogue be the way out for us? Should we embrace that approach at this time?
You see, I'm not going to say dialogue is not a good thing, but I personally, Oluwafemi Aratokunle, will tell you one thing, I will tell Nigeria one thing. We have allowed money to be so much out over there to all these criminals that we don't even know who is a kidnapper, who is not a kidnapper, who is a terrorist, who is not a terrorist. So because of the fact that we see money coming out from the government, from individuals, let me just secure my people. Now they've turned it, they've monetized, everything is now business, and they've seen it as, okay, fine, if I need quick money, fast money, all I can do is, let me just do A, X, Y, Z, and the money will be out. Dialogue is good, but what sort of dialogue are you having? Who do you want to have this dialogue with? Do you have a face for it, or you don't have a face for it? Is another question we need to ask ourselves. Now, if we're having a face, what are the terms and conditions? What are their demands? Because for you to be a terrorist, or for you to have a very act of, you want to disturb or destabilize a section or a situation or an environment, the question will be, what are your demands? What are you fighting for? What are you shouting for? What are you trying to destroy that we're not giving out? Don't forget, election is on the way, 2023. Now, every single politician will now want to join on the bandwagon of, oh, Buhari is doing it right, Buhari is not doing it right, this one is not doing it right, this one is not doing it right. But the question I will ask Nigerian and the federal government and the politicians is this: what legacy are you going to leave behind come 2023?
Right. You are giving us quite a robust, you know, in-depth analysis into this. But at this stage where we are now, do you think that it is time for us to call for international or foreign aid at this point in time?
We've always called for it. They've given us what they can give us. But our body language says a lot of different things. Again, if you're calling for international bodies, you don't expect those international bodies to come in and stay here. They have to train and give ideas to people on ground, which is our own people, Nigerians. The question is, what do we do with all this information they've given us in the past? The materials given to us in the past, what have we been able to do with it? I go on the road these days, and each time I look at our police officers, what they wear, I laugh. I laugh it off. Why? Because most of what they wear are just inferior. So they don't have the fighting capacity to withstand any act of strong criminal activities in town. So that is why you see all these banks being raided, and you see police officers, you know, in the hideout, then later they'll come out, because they don't want to lose their own lives as well. This is the problem. So what sort of foreign aids do we need that we've not been given? What sort of information do you want from these foreigners or from international bodies that we don't know of? The research are there, everything is there in blue and white. We have it all. But are we making use of it? The answer to it is no. We're not making use of anything at all. We just want the foreign aid, we just want the support, and it ends there. Photo shoots, photo opportunities, media coverage about it, blah, blah, blah. This is this is that, and that's it.
Right. Very quickly, I know this was not part of our conversation, but, you know, I just want to get your brief opinion on it. On Tuesday, there was a football match between the Super Eagles and the Black Stars of Ghana, you know, which made the Black Stars qualify for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. And we could see videos of how the MKO Abiola Stadium was vandalized and things were destroyed by fans Nigerians.
Nigerians, yeah.
How do you react to this, considering the fact that we are talking about dealing with, you know, issues like this, and just inside, we have a situation like this?
Let me
very quickly.
It's part of my job, my role, my business as well. It's simply a failure of crowd control. Because we talk about crowd control, but we don't really understand how to put crowd control management in place. So it's a failure again, as in how do we manage people? How do we manage crowd? The capacity in that stadium is not even up to what we have in Arsenal, Chelsea, Man U, and all the rest, or all over the world. So the question is this: why are we having military men? Why can't we have robust security officers that understand crowd control in the stadium before and after? So again, another thing to look into: crowd control management, traffic management. All this play a part in that place, and we saw it all together ourselves. It's life happening in Nigeria, and we just need to have a way of thinking about how do we manage our security system. Foreigners can't do it. We need to learn how to do things ourselves.
Major thanks to our guest, Femi Aratokunwale, a security expert who dissected some issues on insecurity in Nigeria with us. I am Sarah Owusu, and till I see you next time, stay safe.